Welcome back to the City Current Radio Show. I'm your host, Jeremy Park. We're honored to be joined by our next guest, Kevin Yates. He's the Vice President of Sales with ImageWorks MBI. They're a partner in City Current, a longtime partner, so we know them very well, but here's your chance to get to know them as well. So, Kevin, how are you doing?
I'm great. Thanks for having me.
So let's start ImageWorks MBI. Talk about the world that you're in terms of commercial design, furniture, interiors. You do a lot to make sure that our workplaces and now our home offices look nice, function very well, and allow us to be productive. So dive into your world with ImageWorks MBI.
Yeah, thanks, Jeremy. So what we do, we're an office solutions company. So when we talk about, the workplace and wherever that may be, that's a pretty fluid term these days. We provide solutions in terms of furniture. We do architectural solutions like walls. We do technology solutions. We have services around asset management and move management. We have designers on staff to be able to support either directly with the customer within their design team, depending on whether they have that on staff with their organization or with an A&D firm as well. We have the flexibility to be able to do all those things. And our goal is really just to be able to provide organizations to give to their employees to enjoy where they work. We spend so much time in our offices and at work and supporting each other. It's a good thing to be able to actually enjoy and be comfortable and be in a aesthetically pleasing place where you work every day.
And you are a Steelcase vendor, so you have access to some of the top line, amazing product on your end, correct?
Yeah, Steelcase is in a lot of ways the gold standard of the industry. But not just in terms of just, they give quality product because they spend the time and effort in the research, the analysis. Their design lab is amazing. I got the chance to walk through that right before everything kind of shut down. And when we're in a place like we are today, that research and that dedication to science-based and knowledge-based decision-making, having a partner like Steelcase has been a huge advantage, not just for us as a partner with them, but also for our customers, because they get to benefit from that knowledge and what they contribute as a part of the workplace environment.
Talk about the trends and what you're seeing, because obviously there's a lot of flux and you're on the front lines helping businesses reconfigure their workspace, make sure that health and safety are top priority. But talk about between work from home and reconfiguring spaces, some of the trends that you're seeing going on right now.
So right now, everybody is, the immediate trend was to, get people working from home, to be able to provide a conduit between each other, because everybody has been used to working within a close proximity. I can reach across my desk, or I can go to the next office, or and being able to work in that type of fashion. And then the pandemic hit, and then everybody was forced to rethink that. And so being able to, the immediate trend was, how do I keep my employees safe? That was number one goal of everyone. Just how do I keep my people safe? And now everybody, most organizations are trying to think like, how do I keep my company or my employees safe and still maintain a good work environment? What we've seen is the work from home concept. In the beginning, there was a trajectory of people really enjoyed that space. They enjoyed being able to, get up in the morning, be able to see their kids all, in the mornings, and be able to go into their home office or in their bedroom and be able to work from that area. And you saw a trend where it goes up and people are enjoying it. But as of late, we're seeing the shine kind of wear off of that. And so companies are asking themselves, how do we keep our employees safe, but also try to get them back into a work environment? And the questions that they're asking, what does that mean to bring people back? What is their biggest concerns? What do people miss about the office? Trying to understand those dynamics, the expectations that people are going to have in returning to the office. That is a huge thing that people are asking. Like, when I go back to the office, will I have that sense of safety as well? We are looking, or what we're seeing is we're sitting around safety, but with three key components, which is the physical component. Is my employer able to keep me safe? The cognitive component, which is are there things that are distracting me in terms of safety that is not allowing me to function collaboratively and get work done in an optimal manner? And then the emotional component. Everybody wants to have that sense of like whenever I'm at home or with go to work and then I come back home, am I safe and is my family safe? And so we're looking at all those three components, and so are our customers, but all centered around the safety of the employee. So that's sort of the big things that people are talking about right now, and we're having those discussions on a daily basis.
Talk about on your end as you're reconfiguring the workspaces, because you were able to show me all sorts of charts now where you can create this 6 feet of social distancing and the separation, and you can reconfigure cubicles. And now there are all sorts of really neat product that, one, you can create kind of the isolation areas that are safety zones. You can put up areas that are kind of barriers for the cubicles. And then later on, once things normalize, you can take those down. So really flexible solutions that are coming in now to the workplace. So talk about kind of what you're seeing, on that side of, especially right now, and then being able to future-proof these.
Right. So the way that we're looking at, we're thinking about like from a now, near, far approach. The now is, where we're existing with the current work from home scenario. But as we get to the near, and as that gets closer and closer, how do we make those configurations? As we start bringing back employees, and that could be, a slow roll. We've had conversations, and even as me as a father, the schools are talking about how do they do that? Do you bring them back at 50% capacity? And have like rolling periods where people are in the office, and you have that mix. Those types of conversation are taking place. And then with the near, it's that reconfigure option. How do you take what you currently have and just make these adjustments? Because the big questions that are surrounding most people is like, what's the legs? What are the legs on this pandemic? How long does it last? How do I manage it? And so that reconfigure option is really taking that science and knowledge-based approach. And then how do I get to that far approach where I'm reinventing just the way that our floor plans and how we set up our office is redesigned, so where it's flexible, where it's fluid, and how it's adaptable for anything else that may come our way. We have a circumstance today, but being able to make your office space to where you're able to flex for any circumstance that could come, next week, 5 years, 10 years down the road. And so we're looking at that now, near, far approach. One of the things that we have the ability to be able to do is workplace consultation. And so with Steelcase, they provide a service to where they use a collaboration tool called Mural. And Mural allows customers and stakeholders to be able to take a floor plan and try to drive feedback from the stakeholders for them to be able to understand, like, keep this, change this, remove this. And this gives them a starting point, and it drives design concepts to understand what's important to the customer.
And it also allows everyone to interact and be engaged, correct? So you can pull in all these different stakeholders who are involved and get their input. Absolutely.
Many folks are familiar with the exercise where you get into the conference room and you're handed your sheet of dots, and then you go around and you're like, this one's important to me, this one's important to me, sticky note, put that there. This is what's happening, but from a virtual standpoint, in order to be able to get design concepts to where the company's like, this is exactly what we were thinking as a collaborative session. And then when we take those examples, we're looking at things like density, how many employees do we have in a given amount of space, geometry, how are we orienting the space that we have, and then division, how are we creating barriers that protect employees and creating those spaces to where everybody who's been in Target or some big box store as of late, they'll notice that they're managing traffic through their stores, and those considerations take place within the workplace as well. So to give you an example, If you have a conference room that's typically seating 10 people, well, you may remove chairs. You may remove common area spaces like hutches or credenzas to where people are doing common storage. And you may manage that space within the conference room so everybody knows to go in one way and come out the other way. Those are things that every organization should be considering, that lends itself to the health guidelines of 6 feet of distancing, barriers between individuals. And so we take those same guidelines and those same concepts and try to envelop those into our design for our customers.
Something that you and I were talking about before we jumped on the air was, this isn't just for employees, this is for your guests as well. And so thinking about even like the lobbies and the waiting rooms and reconfiguring so that your guests aren't seated together. So this permeates all the way through.
Yes, and initially what I've seen is people are taking and they're wrapping up certain seats in the lobby. These are open, these are not. Fortunately for us, we do have options to be able to take some of our existing furniture, and it's designed to reconfigure. We can also implement barriers, screens to where they're separating certain areas of the lobby space from another, and without telling anybody, it tacitly explains, I sit here, not here. And so those types of concepts and that flow, and even things like walk-through spaces, they can be both functional and directional. Like if I put a planter and a hand cleaning station in an area where people were used to walking through, I put that blockage there. It's both functional from a sanitation station, but also redirects traffic into another area. So all of those things, without having somebody stand there and say, no, you go this way or you go that way, the design concepts allows us to be able to help our customers. Like if you do these things, it will help drive traffic this way, and tacitly explain it in lobby. I don't have a spot to sit here. I have my designated areas and I have my barriers, and it creates that sense of comfort even for guests that are coming in. Because for me in my work, I am screened every day. I'm asked the same questions every day, and those types of protocols are good. But to have that in combination with the design, it amplifies the level of safety and peace of mind that people have coming into your lobby, or the employees coming into work.
Yeah, and that's where it goes back to, like you said, it crosses all three phases, where it's physical, it's cognitive, and it's emotional, because they feel the peace of mind and the comfort knowing that they're protected.
Right.
It's one thing to say it; it's another to feel it and experience it and truly be that.
Absolutely.
Give us maybe one of your favorite, I don't want to say necessarily innovations, but product lines or offerings that is really neat that you think everyone should know about. I mean, off the top of my head, I'm thinking of some of the things that you showed me of, the fact that you can put up the barriers, but one of the really cool things is you have basically a whole meeting room that you can basically bring in and create office areas and meeting areas that really you can plug right into an office to create those sort of barriers. So you've got really cool product lines and offerings, but give us maybe one or two of your favorites right now.
Sure. So one of the things that you mentioned was an office space that we have the ability to be able to flex with, and that's with our architectural products. We're not necessarily bound by I have to bring a contractor in to throw up permanent studs. I don't have to tear any walls down. I can take these architectural products and I can reconfigure them to where I can have them designed to set up to have doors or sliding doors, or I can leave that space open to where it's open air and I'm not closing people into a box. I have that flexibility with those products. And then as things change and we have a better way of managing it, or we have a vaccine or whatever the case may be, those products become flexible because we can make those additions at relatively low cost because we already have the structure in place. And in addition to that, if the client says, I don't want this here, I want this here, I'm able to move that, and it changes the aesthetics of the space as well. The other one is being able to work within systems, and we have systems. We have Ology with the stand-up desk, and we also have answer panels and systems. Those systems allow a tremendous amount of flexibility with the reuse, and so you're not throwing the baby out with the bathwater. And that's a really, I mean, in terms of being able to optimize the product and the financial investment that you have in times like this, it becomes super beneficial. What this allows us to do is right now, leading up to the pandemic, there was certainly like a strong desire to have open concepts, no panels, bench seating, standing desks. And this, even with the systems that we have, we're able to implement panels, and we're able to reconfigure, reorient the way that people are facing and sitting. We can add glass to increase height. Those are some of the more system-based types of solutions that we can offer. But even with that, if a company says, for one example is we have some clients, I have very strict standards that we put in place. We don't want to compromise those. How do we invest in something to where we protect our employees while at the same time being able to adhere to the standards? And so we have clip-on screens that can work with desks. We have barriers to where you can put screens, or even like whiteboards that will stand in between one another, so it gives them a work surface. There's just many different ways when you work within systems or you work within solutions like screening options that allow customers to be able to be flexible with the environment they're in and keep the aesthetics. Because we've been in Home Depot, and that the solutions of putting a stud together and putting a frame up for the Home Depot cashier is functional, and it speaks to their do-it mentality. But when we're talking about in the office space within organizations where they have those standards, that just doesn't fit the bill. They want something that has a cleaner look, that doesn't look like it was put together by me in my garage. It's something that's meets their standards and their specifications of how they want their office space to look.
Talk about cleaning and sanitizing now. I think that's, you mentioned on your end, something that makes you unique is you've got your own design team, but you also too have the ability to store for companies. I know that you do so much for companies that are, either scaling up or scaling back to make sure that they have everything they need, but you can store everything. But now that you're going into the office and you're setting all this up, on your end, there's a huge need to make sure that you're sanitizing and leaving everything in the safest possible manner. But you're also too now taking that a step further and offering that to your clients as well.
Right, and that is a big thing from the when we talked about from all of those. The physical, the cognitive, and emotional perspective. As people come back into the office, there's going to be growing concern: is my place safe? And so we are providing options for our customers to have a sanitation service. We don't provide a cleaning service. A cleaning service is I'm emptying the garbage. I am doing like a wipe down with just from some light dusting, those types of things. And that's just removing like surface material. The sanitation process, we use a mister with a sanitation product that allows us to spray over the panels, spray over the chairs, and we remove all the items from that surface and we box them up. And so when we clean it, we're getting a clean surface and wipe down with sanitation product, not just a cleaning, dusting product of that sort. And then whenever the customers, employees come back to the office, they will see a clean station. They will see their materials boxed. So we're not retouching. They're the ones going to be interacting with their personal items. They're going to have a packet with things like face masks and a sanitation, like everything that spells out like, we want you to be safe. And a note that says your station was sanitized on this day. This is the peace of mind concept that that we want to be able to provide for our customers, but ultimately for the employees that they house, because they're the ones that are sitting in those workstations day in and day out. And so that's the big difference from a sanitation versus a cleaning service, which we're firmly supporting our customers with the sanitation side.
Yeah. Last question is the easy one, is talk about how to get in touch with you. So talk about, for those who say, wow, I need some help to reconfigure. I want to look at these product offerings and make sure that my team is safe. I want to look at the sanitization. How do they get in touch with you?
Well, we are located in the south side of Memphis. We're not very far from the airport. If you Google us, we'll be Googled on Memphis Business Interiors. I can, there's my card. You can contact me directly at 901-360-8899. And we are working with customers in whatever dynamic that you can imagine. I mean, even from the work from home concept, a lot of people are trying to figure out what that looks like. We have a lot of customers that are trying to assist their employees, because not everybody's set up to work from home. And what we found is a lot of people are sitting in kitchen chairs. And so even from whether it's in the office or whether they're working from home, we have solutions that is suitable for our organizational clients. We're not necessarily a storefront, but we have a showroom that's typically open. And but whatever the case may be, for companies that work in that education, that healthcare, that corporate space, we provide solutions, and we'd love to be able to help out any folks on the team here, because we have thought this through. We put in the sweat equity, and we are the experts in the field to be able to get employees back to work, and with our priority number one is keeping them safe. And so love to be able to collaborate with any folks on the team.
Well, Kevin Yates, Vice President of Sales, ImageWorks, MBI, thank you for all you and your team do. Thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you.